Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Meshwara, Gurureva Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Chinmayam Vyapyat Sarvam, Trailokyam Sacharacharam, Tatpadam Darshitam Yena, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Tvameva Mata cha Pita, Tvameva Bandhuscha Sakha, Tvameva Vedyadravinam, Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva, Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva. Om Sahana Bhavatu, Sahana Bhunaktu, Sahaviryam Karavavahai, Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. See if I can hit this white box without inadvertently logging off. I did it. Okay, so where are we in our text?
I have us on number 66 on page 34, I believe. Yeah.
Can you help us out, please, Ganesh?
Naham karta na bhokta cha. Naham karta na bhokta cha. Ame karma puradhuna. Ame deho vidoyeho va. Nirmameti mameti kim. I am not the doer or enjoyer. Work have I none, now or formerly. I have no body, nor am I bodiless. How can I have or not have a sense of minus?
Yes. So again, things that we tend to attach to in the egoistic state. So let's peel these apart one by one. So I am not the doer or the enjoyer. Is that what he said?
Yeah.
Doer and the enjoyer. Karta, bhokta. So in the subtle intellect, technically speaking, in the Vijnana Maya Kosha, there is this phenomenon where in the subtle intellect, I attribute to the self the qualities of the not self. So the body is impelled into activity essentially by the force of its past. And the mind thinks, I am the doer. All this is happening to me. When we say enjoyer here, we mean experiencer. But the agent is actually the qualities of mind, guna, and the force of the past, karma, as it interacts with the society. I am none of that. I am the witness of that sense of agency. Now, to give this up brings enormous peace, because if we're identified with the doer and the enjoyer, the experiencer, we can have two phenomena in the mind which afflict us. One is concern or regret for the past. Oh, did I make a mistake? Should I have taken this job? Should I have gotten together with this person? Did I make the wrong choice? Should I have moved to this particular locale, etc.? When we understand that the doer is guna and karma, you could have done no other. And then that concern about the future, you're shopping your resume and you get two offers. Should I take this job or should I take that job? Or even should I quit altogether? What should I do? What should I do? Or as Arjuna says in Gita, I'm confused as to my duty. And when we realize guna and karma are the agent, you're going to do what you're going to do. That's difficult to understand, then let Ishvara be the agent. The way the Master Jesus says that I of myself do no thing, it is the Father within that doeth the work. One of my favorite stories from the New Testament, Jesus is walking down the street with his disciples, and the scripture says a woman with an issue of blood comes up from behind, meaning she was hemorrhaging. And she simply touched his cloak. And he turns around and says, who has touched me? For he had felt power go out of him. She was healed. No sense that he was doing the doing. Any thoughts on this idea of the renunciation of the sense of agency? All right, next idea, Ganesh. What was the next idea in the verse?
Work have I none now or formerly.
Yes. So I do not work. So in Gita, Krishna goes into what is action in the midst of actionlessness. What is actionlessness in the midst of action? Basically, the body, mind, intellect acts, the self never does anything. Now, another layer of meaning of this. The person of steady wisdom is the supreme idler. I heard someone say that one of the translations of a roshi in Japan, in Japanese, means useless one. So the person of steady wisdom has nothing left to accomplish. No more goals. Yet they are seen to act in the world, driven by the force of the past and the desires of other people. I have no work left to do. What about my career? What about, having a family and stuff like that. Knock yourself out. If you still have that sort of vasana driving you in the world, no blame. You do it till you don't have to do it anymore. What about paying the rent? I got to do something. Shankara says, don't worry about it. Your Prarabdha will take care of the body. Don't worry about it. There's nothing to worry about at all. Let the equipment act its role in the society. I think of it like a robot. And you just push the automatic pilot button. Let it go through its allotted successes and failures in life. Next idea.
I have no body, nor am I bodiless.
Yes. So I'm not a ghost, nor am I the body. I am something other than all. If I have a body at all, it's the entire creation. Everything is mine or nothing is mine. Any thoughts on this one? Is that all the pieces of it?
How can I have or not have a sense of minus?
Yes. Nothing in this world is fundamentally mine. It's all just images that occur in consciousness. I've given up any sense of I-ness and minus. Worry about the future, regret for the past. It's all gone.
Jim, can I ask a question?
Please, is this Shweta?
No, it's Susili.
Hi, Cicely.
Hi, Jim. So just to talk or a counterpart of this in the 12 steps would be, so I've have my shortcomings, and then I am making amends because of my past actions, and I keep doing that, but I don't make any more, I don't offend anyone else, and I don't.
Well, good luck.
Well,
Never says you won't offend people. Even yoga doesn't say that.
but yes, because you were saying like, yes, because of the Shankar, the
Bhagavad Gita says the person of steady wisdom's mind is the same in honor and dishonor. Doesn't mean everybody honors you after that.
Yeah, I was more thinking about what are those called? The sanskaras?
Yeah.
Because I have all this, so the point is that I'm not
Take
making,
on the medication. I have no sanskaras.
yeah, no sanskaras. Yes.
You have no sanskaras. Okay. So if you go outside, do you have a garden at your house?
Yes.
So you go out and you garden and you get dirt on your hands?
Yes.
Are you the dirt on your hands?
No.
Okay. Neither are you the sanskaras in your mind.
Okay. So I'll just keep whatever keeps happening and just not put a judgment on it. That's what you're saying?
No, whatever keeps happening, don't identify.
With. Okay, it's just happening because it's the conditioning, and this is what I am
Yeah, and if you must have a goal, try not to be an asshole. That's good enough for me.
So I don't have to keep cleaning up and cleaning up and cleaning up. But
Yeah, and sometimes I step in it, but none of it touches me.
okay.
That's the point.
Just feels like I'm having
Remember
it feels like I'm just having a free pass. Like a,
well,
like one of those cards, like jail, to get you out of jail and when you're
are
playing.
you trying to rationalize that your sponsor or your psychotherapist has said you must be identified with your ego? In the end, any helper, be it a sponsor or a therapist, who approaches the work from the standpoint, be identified as a human being with all these problems. You can knock yourself out, Cicely, if you want to live there.
But then you tell us once that only the healthy ego can die.
Well, and this is not what Avadhuta Gita is about. This is for people who have resolved some of those issues. But
Ah,
I tell you, Susali, once you're finished dealing with the afflictions of this life and your family of origin, then there's the last life. Then there's the life before that one. And then there's the life before that one. Knock yourself out if you want to go down that path. There are people, oh, I need to have a past life regression because I was murdered in the witch trials in Salem. I'm done making this up. People do that.
oh my. Okay, so
There's no end to the mind.
okay. Just get out of the mind.
Get
Yeah.
out.
Okay.
Get out. That's what yoga says. That's not what psychotherapy says.
Okay. Thank you.
Now, when I say you've got to have a healthy ego in order to do yoga, what happens is people who are so contracted have no interest in, nor are they attracted to this work. They are busy doing trauma therapy. Or if they do hear about it and they start to study, they say, I can't do this. They go, do what you need to do.
I know I tried, but I keep coming back because it just makes so much sense, but I don't know in what, like, I don't know. It just works for me when I hear it.
Well, all I can tell you is my own direct experience, sweetheart. I have never found anything that gave me peace and freedom as this work. Now, I have lots of love in my life. I'm not too bad of a jerk most of the time. So, even at the human level, it's done its transformational work. It's up to you. It's up to you. But they are inconsistent practices in the end. Your sponsor and the therapist is going to tell you, get in there and wrestle in the mud. But I tell you, I've seen so many people who've gone through years and years of early childhood trauma therapy and EMDR and all these various things, and maybe a little progress, but they're still reactive, unhappy people because they still think they're a person. Astrology, all this literature says, get out. You are not that. And Susali, you've been in this living room and your mind has tuned up and you've dropped your mind and you have had that recognition, that pratyabhijnanam. Oh, yes, there's no Susali there. Am I wrong?
No.
Yeah. What kind of trauma has that space had? You see any mind in there? I have no mind. You don't either. Get out. That's what this scripture is thundering.
Thank you.
When the mind is covered by ignorance, the first thought that arises is Jiva Bhavana. You think you're Susali. As soon as she arises, she got problems. And then you've got struggle. And ego always says, resolve the struggle of ego. Yoga says, drop the struggle or wake up. Remember who you are. Now, my suggestions is look to your direct experience. When you can drop the mind and you remember your essential nature, does that not immediately bring you peace?
Yes.
That's my experience. Good questions, though. Anybody else have anything they want to comment, contribute? All right, next verse.
न मे रागादिको दोषः दुःखं देहादिकं न मे आत्मानं विधि मामेकं विशालं गगनोपमम्. I have no fault such as passion and the like, nor have I any sorrow arising from the body. Know me to be the one self, vast and like the sky.
So here, the scripture is exactly addressing our prior conversation. I have no passions, no faults, no sorrow. That's just the stupid body mind. When the situation is conducive, when the situation is non-conducive, what do I mean? When I'm getting what I want, or I'm not getting what I want. It's that simple. What afflicts my mind? when I don't get what I want. And if I'm convinced that my happiness is about getting what I want, I get attached. Then when it changes, not if, it's a given that it's going to change. I'm stuck. Oh, Sangraha. Oh, too late. Let the world go. So to put these things in modern language, I have no job. I have no wife or husband. I have no children. No criticism touches me. No praise touches me. When other people say that I have done well, it's like them saying, oh, that's a pretty vase. When they say you're a terrible person, how could you be so screwed up? It's like saying that's an ugly vase. It has nothing to do with me. Why? Chidananda. I'm of the form of bliss consciousness. Shivoham, Shivoham. Exactly what we heard from the Nirvana Shakti. And if the mind is triggered, so effing what? Oops. My favorite prayer. Oops. Drop that. If you yell at your children, tell them you're sorry, and then drop it. Next verse.
Sakhe manakim bahujalpitena sakhe mana sarvamidam pitarkyam yatsara bhutam kathitam mayate tvameva tattam gaganopamosi. Friend mind, of what use? Friend mind, of what use is much vain talk? Friend mind, all this is mere conjecture. All this is mere conjecture. I have told you that which is the essence. You indeed are the truth, like the sky.
Yes. So, Corey or Jory, here's a meter change. And it's when the Avadhuta is addressing his own mind. What use is there for a lot of blah, blah? You can't think a real thought. The world arises like images in the mind. The mind itself is empty and pure like the sky. We can describe the mind as having two elements, prakasha and vimarsha. Prakasha means light. So it's the light of pure awareness. And vimarsha are the very, it literally means deliberation. Various kinds of thinking, feeling, perceiving, reacting, etc. What the verse is saying is, without the vimarsha, what's left is the pure prakasha. That prakasha, that awareness is yourself. It's the simple awareness of the most ordinary waking state. When you ever not existing, shining as the light of awareness, no sorrow touches you. It's just my stupid mind. Why does my stupid mind get painful and hurt and upset? Sangraha, attachment. Effing control issues. That's all there is to it. Oh. Any thoughts on this? Next one.
येन केनापि भावेन यत्र कुत्र मृता अपि योगिनस्तत्र लीयन्ते घटाकाशमिवाम्बरे. In whatever place yogis die, in whatever state, there they dissolve as the space of a jar dissolves into the sky.
So some of the scriptures have all these rules that, you know, if you die, you need to make sure that it's in the first 6 months, the time of light and the rising, the sun getting brighter. If you die in the second half of the year, that's smoke and the darkness, you're going to go to the ancestors. Nonsense for the man or woman of realization. Oh, I want to go to Varanasi so I can be cremated right next to the Mother Ganga and my ashes scattered in the river. Doesn't matter. Buried, cremated, left outside for the vultures to eat. It doesn't matter. Here's the glass. Inside the glass is glass space. If I break the glass, what happens to the space? Does it actually merge with the room space? No, not really. Nothing happens. But there's no apparent distinction between glass space, room space, or as the Avadhuta says, the pot or the jar and the space. Nothing happens to the self. Or as one of the last teachings of Ram Das, even dying is completely safe. Next one.
Tirthe Shantya Jage Heva Nashta Smritirapi Tyajan Samakale Tanum Muktah Kaivalya Vyapako Bhavet. Giving up the body in a holy place or in the house of a Chandala, the yogi, even if he has lost consciousness, becomes identified with the absolute as soon as he is free of the body.
So if he's in a holy place, if he dies in a temple, does that more punya, more merit? He goes to a higher plane. or if he's in the house of an outcast, a chandala. Oh, I've been soiled. Or some people say you need to die very consciously. If you've got cancer, don't take any medication to ease your pain, because as a yogi, you want to die fully conscious. It's all nonsense. Swamiji died in August, second half of the year. On the operating table, he was under general anesthetic. Still a Mahatma. None of that touched the cell. Where you die and where you live, product. It's all your karma. Don't worry about it. It's all going to work out. It's all going to work out. Any thoughts? Next one.
Dharmartha kama mokshamscha dvipada vicharacharam manyante yoginas sarvam marichi jalasannibham. The yogis consider duty in life, pursuit of wealth, enjoyment of love, liberation, and everything movable or immovable, such as a man, and so on, to be a mirage.
So good deeds, bad deeds, anything that occurs in the world of name and form is like a mirage, seen but not be at peace. All of it just passes in front, like a movie. You sit in the theater, watch the movie of life. The fool gets up and tries to dance with the people on the screen. He thinks, I am there. No. Even this body is part of the movie. I am the witness of it. Any thoughts?
All things seem but cannot be. Beauty brags, but is not she.
That's lovely. Where did you get that?
I don't know.
It's
I
lovely.
think you probably said it.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Or if I did, I forgot. All right, next one.
Atitanaagatam karma vartamanam tathaiva cha na karomi na bhunjami iti me nischala matihi. This is my certain perception. I neither perform nor enjoy past action, future action, or present action.
So we have all these various descriptions of different types of karmas, karmas of the past, karmas of the future, karma of the now, usually described as sanchita, agami, and prarabdha, etc. I do. So if I have a dream and in my dream I crash my car, and in my dream I'm worried about how am I going to get my car fixed, when I wake up, none of it is real. Sure seemed real. Just like this seems real. Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. Brahman alone is real. The entire phenomenal world is mithya, illusion. Next one.
शून्यागारे समरसपूतः तिष्ठन्नेक सुखमवधूतः चरति हि नग्नस्त्यक्त्वा गर्वं विन्दति केवलमात्मनि सर्वम्. The Avadhuta, alone pure in evenness of feeling, abides happy in an empty dwelling place. Having renounced all, he moves about naked. He perceives the absolute, the all within himself.
So again, this is metaphor. There are avadhutas who walk around, they own nothing, they have matted locks. They're what we call sky-clad, stark naked. What you and I need to do is live with that as an internal state. I own nothing. It's all on loan from God. I live nowhere. God will put this body where it's supposed to be. I am naked. Completely naked. Nothing can cover me, touch me, surround me. I am not of this world. So the Avadhuta is an internal state. And to live in the outer in that way, that'll make itself known. That's, again, all up to the Lord. You need not ever worry about it. Oh, Jim, the stock market is going down. Have you been diminished one iota because of it? Next one.
Tritayaturiam nahi nahi yatra vindati kevalam tatra dharma dharmau nahi nahi yatra baddho mukta katamiha tatra.
Oh, wonderful.
Where
Go
there are neither
Sorry,
the
yeah.
three states of consciousness, where there are neither the three states of consciousness nor the fourth, there one attains the absolute in the self. How is it possible to be bound or free when there is neither virtue nor vice?
So here he's making reference to Mandukya Upanishad. So in Mandukya, we have the exegesis on pranava, on Om itself. Om, the word, is all this in the phenomenal world. Om, the word is beyond all this, meaning the ultimate. Om is divided into 4 quarters. A, U, Ma, and silence. A, waking state. U, dream state. Ma, deep sleep state. The mind itself cycles through those. And Turiya, the 4th, is the consciousness in which those 3 states rise and fall. Forget it. Oh, Jim, I think I'm getting close to being realized. I think I'm getting it, Jim. Who's the idiot who thinks he's getting close? Drop it. No personal sense of self is real. Give up concerns about bondage and liberation. Again, this is not for beginners. This is a very advanced text. The ego never gets to arrive. Always, I bring people back to the question, don't worry about stuff like that. Do you know who you are? That's the important question. Do you have any doubts about your essential nature? It's the only real thing. Everything else is nonsense. Everything else is mithya. Every dimension of the spiritual path, mithya. The 12 steps, mithya. ACA, mithya. Inner child work, mithya. Raja Yoga, mithya. There's only one reality. Aham, I. Everything else, without exception, mithya. Next one.
Vindati vindati nahi nahi mantram, chando lakshanam nahi nahi tantram, sarasamagno bhavita bhutah pralapitameta paramavadhutah. The Avadhuta never knows any mantra in Vedic meter or any tantra. This is the
I'm
supreme.
sorry, I missed that. Say it slower.
The Avadhuta never knows any mantra in Vedic meter nor any tantra. This is the supreme utterance of the Avadhuta, purified by meditation and merged in the sameness of infinite being.
Yes. So, what about the Vedic mantras? They're so sacred. What about the Tantrika? All the Tantric teachings. Only I is real. If it has a beginning and an end, if it occurs in time and space, if it has qualities, if it has a form, if it can be known as an object of consciousness, drop it. Only the eternal subject is real. And you need not do anything. In fact, if you quit doing, that peace which passes all understanding immediately permeates the mind. Here, the Avadhuta is not getting caught up in the argument which philosophical school is better. All of them are useful. They are the boat that takes us to the shore. The Avadhuta discards the boat and walks on. Kevala, totally alone, without any support. Next one.
सर्वशून्यम् अशून्यं च सत्यासत्यं न विद्यते स्वभावभावतः प्रोक्तं शास्त्रसंवित्तिपूर्वकम्. There exists neither complete void nor voidlessness, neither truth nor untruth. The Avadhuta, having realized the truths of the scriptures, has uttered this spontaneously from his own nature.
So this idea of shunya or shunyata, being void or empty, is everything void and empty, or is everything purnam, full? It's beyond our description. Oh. And what the scripture is implying is, for the woman or man of realization, they have become an Upanishad. The example I like to use, so some aliens from outer space came down, and they've been looking at all sorts of Indian pictures of gods and goddesses. So they think that what a human being looks like is of a body with 4 arms, and they keep looking around, they can't seem to find anybody with 4 arms. So they go up to Susali and they say, "Are you human? You don't seem to have 4 arms. Do humans have 4 arms?" What would you say, Susali?
No,
How do you know that?
because it's evident.
Now, you didn't have to read an anatomy book, did you?
No.
In other words, you know by direct experience your own human form. So also for the woman and the man of knowledge. They can unfold any scripture. They may not be able to understand some of the mystic symbolism, which is cultural, but the essence of it. How? Because it's their own direct lived experience. What is the mark of the man or woman of wisdom? Effortlessly. It is direct experience that's constant. I know who I am. I know I'm not a person. I know I'm not the body. I know I'm that ground of being, that vast emptiness. And it is the only thing you will ever know for certain. Everything else is mystery. Because everything else is mind. But if you know that, and you know that as a firm conviction, aham brahmasmi, I am that Brahman, everything changes. All right, next one.
Chapter 2.
Well, let's stop there then. We'll quit a little bit early. We have some time, a few more minutes. Does anyone have questions? We have some time to do questions and answers if you wish.
There was one verse, I forget which one it is. Oh yeah, 73. The Avadhuta alone, pure in evenness of feeling, abides happy in an empty dwelling place. Having renounced all, he moves about naked. He perceives the absolute, the all within himself. It made me think of there's a passage in, I think it's Matthew, where Jesus says the foxes have their dens, but the Son of Man has no place to rest his head.
Yes.
Do you think
Good
there's
parallel. Good
Yeah.
parallel. Yeah. And of course, what was his invitation to the disciples when he sent them out to preach? You know, don't take any money.
Hmm.
You know, go 2 by 2, live off the land. The Jesuit order, you know, it takes 12 years to become a Jesuit. And one of the last exercises a candidate goes through is they're sent out, I think they get $30, and they have to travel for 30 days, solely depending on God's grace. No plan for a place to stay, food to eat, anything, place to wash your clothes. Now, in modern times, what they tend to do is they knock on the door of a parish and say, I'm a Jesuit and I'm doing, I can't remember what it's actually called. Everybody knows about it. Everybody loves to have it. But what it proves to these guys is that God will take care of you. All this worry is so pointless. So pointless. Doesn't mean tragedies don't happen. But are you having one today? Any other thoughts, Jory?
No, that was all. Thank you.
You know, it's marvelous to look at the New Testament. Have you ever looked through a red letter edition of the Bible?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
For those of you who are not familiar with it, this is a particular edition of the Bible where all the text is in black print except the words of Jesus, which are then printed in red. And if you just read what Jesus is supposed to have said, boy, is it an eye-opener. Jory, what was your sense of it when you read it?
I was gifted one really young, and I'm sure I didn't understand most of what what I read, but it definitely stuck with me.
You find, first of all, he's absolutely non-judgmental. The only people he ever criticizes are hypocrites and priests. Only people. He was indiscriminate in his love. And you'll find that he speaks far more like a yogi than he does like a Jew. Although he quotes scripture all the time, Hebrew scripture. Many people think those lost years from age 13 to age 30, which the Bible is completely silent about, many people think that he traveled east. There's stories about it in northern India and in Tibet about someone who came from Palestine, from that area. Very interesting stories. Are they true? I have no idea. But you probably won't find anything that Jesus said that's going to disagree with Vedanta. You may have to look for a deeper meaning to it and not interpret it the way most dualistic theologians do. Any other thoughts? Okay, we'll end here tonight. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Sri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari Om. Good night.
Thank you, Jim.
Night,
Thank you.
man.